Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back in a Fortnite video. And in today's video, I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks on to help you guys out when it comes to winning more gunfights, and just everything in between when it comes to winning more gunfights, and just staying alive longer, and then getting more wins in Fortnite. I'm going to cover everything in this video, and as well for the gameplay I have in the background, it was my first 30 bomb that I ever got. So I dropped 30 kills in this gameplay, so a pretty insane game if you ask me. And before we get into the video, I have a V-Buck giveaway. If you guys want a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you need to do is to drop a like on this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on my notifications, and as well leave a comment down below of your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And as well, make sure you guys have me added and supported as a creator. All you need to do this is go over to the item shop, hit X, go to support a creator, and then type in my code, and my code is Young Humor. And once you type that in, all you have to do is accept it, and you will have me added and supported as a creator. So make sure you guys do that. It really does help me out. And alright guys, let's go right to the video. Alright, so like I said at the beginning of this video, I did drop 30 kills in this game, and the craziest thing about this is I only came out of Tilted Towers with 4 kills, so I came out of spawn with only 4, and usually when I go for my 20 bombs, or kind of upper 20s, I'm coming out of spawn with at least 7, 8, or 9 kills, and this game I only had 4, so it's kind of crazy that this is the most kills I've ever gotten, and I only had 4 kills off spawn. So if I would have gotten like 6 or 7, or maybe even 8 off spawn, then I would for sure at least have a low to at least a mid 30 kill game, which had been absolutely insane considering my record before was 29. But in this video, I wanted to be talking about how to just help you guys out to win more gunfights and to outplay all sorts of different players in this game. So I have a lot of really good tips for you guys in this video that I think is going to help you guys out when it comes to actually winning these gunfights. So when it actually comes to outplaying more people in this game, or just being able to win a lot more gunfights, that's practically what it is. If you win a gunfight, you in some way outplay the other player, whether that be hitting for more damage, having high ground, having a better shot on the other player, whatever the case may be, you outplay them in some sort of way, and that allowed you to win the fight. So being able to outplay a lot of players on a consistent basis can be kind of challenging, but at the same time, it can be done. So one particular thing in this video that I wanted to be talking about the most, and something that I really wanted to cover on, is when you want to go to win more gunfights, if you pretty much want to do anything in this game, whether that's stay alive longer or just get more wins, one thing that you want to do, and one thing that you want to do really well, is just having an advantage in a fight. And that doesn't always just mean having high ground, because that's kind of just cliche. I mean, you can even have a pretty good advantage on the other player on low ground, and that's something that I really wanted to talk about in this video. How, of course, if you have high ground, you're already going to have advantage in the fight because you have a better angle on their head, and you just have a lot more shots in them, and you're probably going to do a lot more damage, and it's a lot easier to hit more shots from up top. But at the same time, even if you have low ground, that doesn't mean that you have the biggest disadvantage in the fight. And in some cases, if you play it good enough, then you can even have an advantage just from being on low ground and instead of having on high ground. So first off, what I like to say, of course, you always want to try to have high ground as much as possible, because on high ground you do have the best opportunity and the most advantages from high ground. So if you have an opportunity to go for high ground and you're on low ground, then you probably want to end up taking it because it's probably going to be the best option to do. But say you're on low ground and you're really trying to get up, one thing that I do a lot of the times is, so if I have another player building up, and so I'm about to run into a gunfight and I'm running against a player who might be kind of a better player, so we're build batting a little bit, we're going back and forth, and so we have a player who's above me, and for some reason I cannot build the other player. He's just a really sweaty player. He just keeps building up, and for whatever reason I can't get high ground. So of course the first few things that I do when I go into a build fight is I try to go for high ground. I'll at least try to go for high ground maybe 2, maybe even 3 times at most. I'm not going to try to go for high ground 4 or 5 times, because then I'm just going to be all the way in the air, and it's just not going to make any sense, and the other player is going to have an advantage on me. So I'll try to go for high ground once or twice, but for whatever reason, if I'm not successful or not able to get high ground or make a play from it, then what I'm going to do immediately is, because if you want to look from the other perspective of the player who's on top, so if you're going into a gunfight and the other player is on top of you, what they're going to try to do is they're just going to keep building up, and by building up, they're going to try to get themselves a better angle to shoot at you, and every time they peek over to go for a shot, they're going to keep building up. So practically at this point, it's going to be nearly impossible to get high ground on that player. So one thing that I like to do is, it really makes a lot of people mad because it's pretty much the best way to play it. But first off, I switch to my metal, and then what I do is I box in, so I pretty much Pencil Warrior. I just build all the way around me, put a floor, put a roof over top of me, and I sit in my box. And a lot of times I even expand out, so I'll make 2 boxes just in case if I need to move in between the boxes for whatever reason. Maybe he breaks through. Maybe if I'm in a game like duos or squads and there's gonna be multiple people shooting at me, it's probably me in my best interest to make at least 2 boxes so I can at least hold the other teams off me for a little bit. And the reason why I'm building out of steel is because it is so much stronger than wood. So in case the other guy tries to drop down and take control of your wall, instead of your wall being 2 hit, because if you were on wood it would be 2 hit, and if it's on steel, I'm not sure exactly how many hits it is, but it's quite a few, and you're definitely going to be able to notice it before they even try to take any sort of advantage on your wall. And you can even go for an edit play or whatever you want to go for by the time they even try to break it. So building out of metal when it comes to those kind of situations is going to be ideal, because you're almost never going to get caught lacking if you're using steel. But if you're using wood, then you really have to be on your guard, because they can break your wall pretty quickly with a lot of guns in this game. I probably like 3 or 4 shots to an AR, 2 pickaxe swings, just a couple SMG shots. So wood breaks really quickly, so you want to just be really careful if you're using wood to build out of. But since mats do drop per kill, most of the time you guys are going to have metal in your games, and you don't have to worry about stressing and not have any metal at all. Unless it's the early game and you barely have any kills, because I'm sure for me at least I have a lot of kills in my games, so I constantly have a lot of mats because I'm killing people, grabbing their loot. But for people who play a little bit more passive and not getting as many kills, I can kind of see where you can come from if you don't have as much steel. But you should at least have a little bit, or at least enough to build a few 1x1s so you can protect yourself from the guy who's going to be on top of you. And so once you box in, pretty much the guy on top, if you don't actually go up for high ground again, there's going to be no point for him to sit on top. He has to jump down no matter what, or unless he just sits up there for 3 or 4 minutes, which more than likely they're not going to sit up there for 3 or 4 minutes. They're going to try to go for some sort of play on you or try to knock you down, whatever they try to do. But the most important thing is eventually they're going to be coming down off their high ground, and if you're really struggling to get high ground, that's the best thing to do, because they're going to eventually come down and you don't have to worry about them constantly building up and up. And if you don't have any gliders, getting shot out could be really bad, and you could lose a lot of HP from just doing that. And most of the time what I do from that position, so I box in, I wait for the other player to come down. Usually after like 7 or so seconds, they're going to come down pretty far. And most of the time they're going to try to get inside your box, or they might be trying to go for a wall replace, whatever the case may be, whatever they're trying to go for. A lot of times if you're building out of steel, and if it's mostly built, when they try to break it, a lot of times you can go for a pretty easy window edit, just because it's going to take so long to break. It's going to give you a wide open shot to take. And a lot of times you can be really quick with it, and they're not even going to be able to react. You can go for a window shot, and even if you miss, you can still close the window edit before they even take any shots at you. So it's pretty much a guaranteed free shot. Or as well, you could just try to go for high ground immediately, because if they jump down right outside of your box, you can just easily place a ramp, edit the floor in the cone on top, and then immediately go for high ground and then have an advantage from there. But doing something like that might not be the best option, because it does drag out the fight for a little bit longer. And for me, when I go for high kills, I want to be able to kill the most amount of people that I can in the quickest amount of time. So just trying to build really isn't the best thing to do, because it just takes so long to go through those gunfights. So the best thing to do for me is just go for a window edit, go for an edit where I play really aggressive off of it, or just do one of those things where I can go for a quick play, so I don't have to worry about dragging a gunfight out for too long if I'm in a build fight. And also another thing to keep in mind, you never really want to box in too much. I mean, you could if another player has high ground, but a lot of times you really don't want to box in unless you know for sure that you're not going to be able to get it. Otherwise, you really just want to try to push for high ground as much as possible, like I'm doing here in these clips. I'm constantly pushing for high ground because there's no reason for me to just box in and wait for them to make a play on me. It really wouldn't be a terrible idea, but at the same time, you want to give yourself the best advantage possible. And by just constantly pushing for high ground while you have the chance, and then boxing in when the other player for sure has the high ground, is going to be the best way to play in the scenario. And it's really going to help you guys out when it comes to from dominating from the low ground, because once you're in that box, if you build it out of steel, it's going to buy you so much more time. It's going to be very hard for the other players to break through. And metal is one of those things, unless they break at it right away after you place, it's going to take them so long to break it. So if they're not constantly putting pressure on that wall, it's going to be very hard for them to do anything about it. So unless they don't challenge at all, you pretty much have a good advantage in that gunfight, and you're going to have the best chance of winning that gunfight and have the biggest advantage. So that's exactly what I would recommend if you're on low ground and really struggling to get high ground. And with that being said, that's where for this video. And one quick announcement, I'm planning on streaming, or at least trying to stream this weekend. So I'm hopefully going to get everything set up, and if I get everything set up, I'm going to let you guys know. I'll probably make a post on the community tab, my Snapchat, maybe even Instagram, pretty much everything that I have, so you guys will definitely know when I start streaming, and hopefully it should be pretty soon within the next few days, but I'll definitely let you guys know. And with that being said, that's wrap up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, hope you guys liked it, and if you could, drop a like in this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on my notifications to be notified for every single new video, and alright guys, I'll see you next video.